When you open, there are different views. So for example, this volume render will give you the whole head in shades of this, it's not really gray, it's like browns and yellows. And you can see it's not oriented properly. This patient has asymmetry in the nose, but it's also canted. And so the first thing you need to do is to, I'm going to go here. This is the reset button. Every one of these programs has the same sorts of buttons. They're sometimes in different spots. This is Invivo Mac, which is anatomized for Macintosh. So they have the same buttons. So you find the one that allows you to reorient, and then you can rotate in 3 planes of space. Now the first thing you want to do is look at the palatal plane, and it should be down about 7 degrees relative to horizontal. Okay, that's critical. That's what gets this bone and this bone in the same orientation. Okay, then solve the rotational problems. I usually put this on the first molars, and then I look down. If I take this line, the orange line down here, and drag it down, it'll show me I'm in the middle of the lower first molars as well, in the middle of the upper first molars. I'm going to move the blue line back just a skosh. This is the view you want to look at to determine width, and we'll go into that some other time. So when you're doing the orientation, you want to, you can do it in volume render as well. So you do that, and then you go here, is a reorientation. I'm just adjust. And what I'm trying to do, I'm looking from the nasal passage up, and I'm trying to find the best orientation of the upper face. And then I want to rotate this until I see both sides about the same. Okay, but there's obviously pretty significant asymmetries for this patient. Especially in the nasal cavity. Okay, and then you just click on it and it'll turn it off. So once I get it oriented, I'll go back to up here to section. Note that this is down, so on. Now I can go to my true pan, and if I say just create a panel, it defaults, but I know already it's going to be a problem, right? Because I'm not covering the whole face. I want the chin in there for sure, but I really don't need the eyes. I want to get to the top of the condyles. And then if I want more behind the condyles, that's where I move this back. Now when you see this space here, that's because the trough doesn't have the whole bone in here. So you take this inside line, make it bigger, and then move the whole thing back just a little bit. So you want the upper teeth in, and you want the lower jaw in. And if you do that, you'll get a pan. Now, because this little smile arc is what you want to see, That's the 7 degrees down. If I didn't tip it down 7 degrees, I wouldn't see that. If it's tipped up, I think I can do that. Let me see here. If I tip this up, which may be the way that it is, and I go, see how this becomes flatter, okay? And if I go in and do it again, tip it way up, you get a reverse smile arc, okay? And you get all this funky stuff. So if you want to make your life simpler, when you get to volume render, take that 7 degrees down. And I realize it's a guesstimate. I totally get that. They usually have the reorientation thing, so you can just click on that. It'll take you right there. Then on your panel, you will get what you want. And if you want to see a little bit more behind the condyle, you just move these back a little bit. And you can watch what happens here. Obviously, there's not anatomy there, okay? So if I do the opposite on the other side, see how you lose it? Take it back to the end of the anatomy, then you can see the condyles. And you want to see the bottom of the chin, and you don't really want to see way above the condyles, unless you do, in which case you can do that. So that's how I develop a pan, and if you do it the way I described it, it's pretty simple. So I'm going to go through it one more time. First, when you're in your section, tip this down 7 degrees. If you want to see it in volume render, that's fine. And you can click on the lateral view. This occlusal plane should be 7 degrees down from horizontal. That's a big deal. And that's how you get the bones oriented, and you can have the smallest possible trough. So orient it properly in 3 dimensions. Get all that done. Then when you go to panel, look down here and see if there's anything that's funky. If you want more of the face to show, you can move these green lines. In the IBM version, it's a little different, and I don't have that available to me. But if I can get on one of your computers, or if I can get to an office where there is, I'll re-record this. This will show you more of the condyles. These green lines will show you up and down, so you see less of the orbits and just the mandible. And you want this green line to go just below the chin. And then you mess with this. You get this dot right here in the center of the front, and then you expand it. And this one expands both ways, so you expand it until you get the teeth in and all the lower bone in. Then you create the panel and do all your saving and so on and so forth. Okay? Hope that helps.